Donald Trump went full dictator in a disaster interview. Donald Trump went to Iowa. He did an interview with Fox News' Will Cain in a restaurant. He answered some questions from reporters. And bizarrely, he held a rally for reasons we can't really understand, although it seems to be panicked damage control as Trump's domestic and foreign agendas fail. That's the simplest explanation. Trump is trying to curry favor and tell people how everything is absolutely phenomenal. Maybe the most dictatorial comment that one can make is to say, I don't need guardrails and I don't want guardrails. I should be able to do whatever I want. And that is exactly what Donald Trump said.
But let's go to those guardrails. I'd imagine you do not feel like you need guardrails in this moment. You talk about the investment.
No, I don't need guardrails. I don't want guardrails. Guardrails would hurt us.
I don't need guardrails. I don't want guardrails. Guardrails would hurt us. Really spoken like a true dictator want to be. Guardrails are not something that dictators like. Checks and balances are not something that authoritarians like. And quite literally, the difference between a democracy where our elected officials are accountable to the people and a dictatorship are the limits. Are there guardrails? If there aren't, you might be in a dictatorship. Are there checks and balances? Are there restrictions on the power of the person in charge? If the answer is no, you might be in a dictatorship. What a surprise that the guy who wants to be a dictator doesn't like checks and balances. But it then gets really interesting. Donald Trump, in an effort to blame anybody but the agents who killed Alex Preddy, now is saying things about guns that the MAGA people, the NRA people, the gun people don't like at all. And here is one example of that.
Listen, the entire country is talking about what happened this past weekend in Minnesota. You've already spoken about it. Everyone watching has seen the video. Everyone has an opinion. I'm curious what you thought when you first saw that video.
Well, I think the whole thing is terrible. I don't like the fact that he was carrying a gun that was fully loaded and he had 2 magazines with him, and it's pretty unusual. But nobody knows when they saw the gun, how they saw the gun, everything else. Bottom line, it was terrible. Both of them were terrible.
There we go. I don't like the fact that he was carrying a gun that was fully loaded and he had 2 magazines with him. That's pretty unusual. Now, you know, I am for gun safety regulations. I'm for the enforcement of the ones we have. I'm for creating new ones. I think we should require liability insurance if you own a gun. And I've talked about this before. But among people with concealed carry licenses like Alex Preddy, it's not that unusual to have extra ammunition. I mean, I don't like that. I don't like that there's 400 million guns in this country. I don't like that there's billions of bullets or whatever the number is. I think we are less safe as a result of it. But the reality is, if you have a gun and you're carrying it, it's not that rare or weird that you would have extra bullets. But this is Trump now starting to try to figure out, how can I justify the shooting? And for those saying, oh my God, he's changing his view on firearms. Trump doesn't really have a view on firearms. Trump's view is whatever will get me elected, whatever I'm supposed to say to win the nomination and then the presidency. That's all Trump cares about. But if you can say that Alex Preddy's having of a gun is enough to justify the shooting, you get the ICE agents off the hook, you get yourself off the hook. That's the only concern here. On the topic of Renee Good, another person killed by Trump's ICE goons, Trump's focus is that because her parents are or were Trump supporters, that he doesn't like. He feels worse because they were Trump supporters.
And I'm not sure about his parents, but I know her parents were big Trump fans. Makes me feel bad anyway. But I mean, I guess you could say even worse. They were tremendous Trump people, Trump fans. And, you know, the daughter was, she was, I don't know if you could say radicalized, maybe not. I don't know. But I hate to see it. I hate to see that.
You know, imagine if someone in your life had been killed and someone goes, listen, I mean, I feel bad, extra bad because they were supporters of mine, you know? And Trump has also said about Renee Good's father, I hope he's still a supporter. Forget about whether this is a good political reaction. That is a bizarre reaction on a human level, just on a basic human level. Now, Will Cain did ask Trump, are you kind of pulling back here because of the backlash against what's happening with ICE and in Minneapolis? You got rid of Bavino. people writing in saying I should call him Bovino. Bovino you got rid of, and then you're saying that you had good calls with Governor Walz and Mayor Fry. Are you pulling back? And Trump goes, well, I'm not pulling back, but, and then he throws Bovino under the bus.
It's gone very differently in Minneapolis.
Well, it has. It's the only place.
And now the message is out that Tom Homan is in.
Yeah.
Commander Bovino is supposedly leaving Minneapolis along with some CBP agents. Is this a pullback?
I don't think it's a pullback. It's a little bit of a change. Everybody in this room that has a business, you know, you make little changes. You know, Bovino is very good, but he's a pretty out there kind of a guy. And in some cases, that's good. Maybe it wasn't good here. But you have to understand, when I watch some of the people that I've been watching over the last few weeks, these are paid insurrectionists. These are paid agitators. These people aren't normal, like, oh, gee, that, you know, they're incensed about anything. How do you get incensed when you go into a state and you're taking criminals out? You're taking monsters out, murderers. You know, we had 11,888 murderers let into our country by other countries, by Biden with his open border stupid policy. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You talk about bad policy. Open borders where people were coming, so the whole world, the Congo, Venezuela, all over the world, they're letting people in from their prisons and they're feeding them into the United States. And they're murderers and they're drug dealers and they're everything else you can think of, every bad name you can think of. And they let them in by the millions. We closed the border. You know, we have...
Okay, so you might be saying, what on earth does that stuff have to do with the question? But understand that there is no question. Trump and the people around him realize he's losing the PR game. He's losing the optics game. This was going to be his signature issue, immigration, and it is failing completely. And under the bus goes Bovino. Donald Trump then bragging about his bailout to farmers without mentioning that the reason the farmers need a bailout is, of course, because of Donald Trump's policy.
And by the way, I just gave the farmers $12 billion because they were treated unfairly. We're taking in a fortune with tariffs. And I wrote them a little check about 2 weeks ago for $12 billion. Anybody in this room get any of it yet? Yes, yeah. A lot of people.
Trump bragging, I did an awesome thing. I'm giving billions of dollars to the farmers. Right, but why do the farmers need the billions of dollars? Oh, because of Donald Trump's policies. I've started a fire and I've partially put it out, and I want to be greeted like a hero firefighter for partially putting out the fire that I started. Donald Trump was asked a question during this visit from a reporter about the comments that Stephen Miller made labeling Alex Preddy a domestic terrorist. Trump's reaction? Say, oh, that's ABC fake news. And of course, it's always women. Trump always shuts down and insults the women.
President, some of your own administration officials have labeled Alex Preddy.
By the way, this is ABC fake news, this one. She hasn't asked me a good question in years. I think a nice woman, but I don't really like her too much. Go ahead. What'd you say? I'd say ABC's about as bad as they get.
And of course, the question was based in fact. Kristi Noem exactly said what the reporter suggested.
Yes. The White House has labeled the man who was killed in Minnesota as a domestic terrorist. Is that something you agree with? And have you seen any evidence to back up that claim?
When you perpetuate violence against a government because of ideological reasons and for reasons to resist and perpetuate violence, that is the definition of domestic terrorism. This individual who came...
I guess it wasn't a fake news question after all, was it? And then finally, in what I believe is one of the worst bits of political messaging that you could possibly employ, Trump says, inflation's gone, prices came down, it's all fixed up.
Literally, it just shows how hard it is to clean up, even after you close it. It shows the price that we paid under Joe Biden.
It's the hardest thing when you think of it. You know, inflation we've solved. It's done. We have it good. Where prices are coming way down. They were just saying in Iowa, the fuel is $1.95. Did you hear that? Somebody said $1.85, but it was $3.50, $4.50. Just
notice the people behind Trump as he says we've solved prices, just staring down glumly, knowing that this isn't true, knowing that the promised price reductions never happened.
A year and a half ago. You look at eggs, you look at groceries, it's all down. Everything's come down. Do you notice they don't mention affordability anymore? That's like an old-fashioned word. They brought up.
This is terrible messaging on this issue. It didn't work for Biden-Harris, and it's not going to work for Trump to tell people, I solved inflation, prices are down, when all that's happened is prices have continued to increase at roughly the same rate that they were under Joe Biden. I think it's losers messaging. Appreciate you watching. Stick around for this next video, and don't forget to hit subscribe so you actually see our uploads. You can also catch the full podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.